Once followers reach a certain level, they're allegedly instructed that Jews are cursed for murdering Jesus, that gay people should be put to death, and that black people are naturally servants to whites.
Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if you're new. And without wasting any time, let's get to the video.
12 tribes.
If you're not in, you're out. If you're not with me, you're against me. If you want to have a strong identity, create a strong enemy, and then you really know who you are.
Founded in Tennessee during the evangelical Jesus movement of the 1970s, the 12 tribes might seem like a simple, wholesome community on the surface. It aspires to recreate the original Christian church, as depicted in the Book of Acts. However, it allegedly exerts authoritarian control over its followers' lives and promotes strict corporal punishment, reportedly by parents and non-parents alike, which has led to accusations of child abuse.
Tessa remembers being sent out to work on her own when she was just 5 years old.
Sometimes working in kitchens, like preparing food for the whole rest of the community, or in like candle factories. So I remember being like 4 or 5 years old working with this boiling wax.
Once followers reach a certain level, they're allegedly instructed that Jews are cursed for murdering Jesus, that gay people should be put to death, and that black people are naturally servants to whites. The group has often flown under the radar, but there's a lot more going on beneath the smiling and folk dancing.
They control your logic and your thinking, and they control your money.
Cults usually target the most vulnerable in society, but the ones who are most affected are children, like the ones we've seen in the video.
Happy Science.
So Happy Science have so many teachings that you can learn about them. So that is a lot of wisdom you got learn.
Founded in 1986 by former businessman Ryuho Okawa, Happy Science focuses on a fourfold path to happiness. Members of the group attend seminars and training in order to climb the group ladder. They worship El Cantare, a being that is said to have been born over 300 million years ago on Earth and reincarnated through time until its current incarnation, which is, of course, Okawa himself.
Ryuho Okawa. This guy's the supreme god of Earth, more powerful than Jesus, Allah, and Moses combined.
さらに私は、ブッダも魂の兄弟の一人で、ブッダも地上に送り込んだ。2500年前に送った。
The problem with this one comes in the form of major uncredited claims. For example, that the organization can cure the pandemic with, quote, spiritual vaccines. Okawa's own son has left the group and subsequently denounced his father's actions. Happy Science claims to have 11 million followers. However, a former member has said it's more like 30,000.
There are membership fees, there are donations for prayers, for blessings. Members may kind of rise in status based on donation to Okawa and his larger project.
I'll never really understand how so many people can believe things like this. But when you understand the kind of people they target, it makes sense. But hopefully, at least people nowadays are a bit more, a little more wiser when it comes to things like this. But if you've heard about any cults where you're from, feel free to tell me in the comments.
The Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Every aspect of this family's life, who they marry, what they wear, even what they eat, is controlled by the man they call their prophet, Warren Jeffs.
The LDS Church spawned some fundamentalist sects when the core religion opted to renounce the practice of polygamy. Those who wished to continue the practice branched off, remaining Mormon but on their own terms. Polygamy remains illegal, however, and in 1953, an entire FLDS community was arrested in Short Creek, Arizona, modern-day Colorado City, and most had their children taken away from them.
We were taught from birth that in order to get what they called the highest degree of the celestial kingdom, you had to have at least 3 wives while you lived on earth. And if you did not, you could not reach that highest degree.
A compound in Texas was raided in 2008 after Child Protective Services was made aware of allegations of abuse. Over 400 children were taken from the compound and placed in CPS custody.
We felt like the children out there on the property were in danger, and that's when it became a very large operation.
Leader of FLDS, Warren Jeffs, remains in his position despite being in prison for life after acts against minors. The sect currently has between 6,000 and 10,000 followers.
Thankfully, the kids were saved. I hope they're fine even now. But there's a pattern to people like this. They're always preaching the same thing, calling themselves God or Jesus. And it's really crazy to see these things happen. And I'm sure there's still things like this even now. We just don't know about it. But hopefully not as many as there used to be.
The Family International.
Berg preached to the hippie generation about Jesus and recruited them to join him in his all-consuming drive to save souls.
The Children of God, more recently the Family International, was founded in 1968 by David Berg and was immediately subject to controversy as it used sex to lure potential members, which was Berg's own invention, which he called flirty fishing. They established colonies worldwide, as many as 130 in 70 countries. The Family International draw their beliefs from the Bible, yet with a heavy emphasis on loving Jesus, which is done through sexual interaction. Over time, there have been a large number of child mistreatment allegations raised against them.
Reportedly, keeping children is a cult policy. While longing for her 4 lost children, Vivian lived here in this small apartment in Sioux Falls, disoriented, unable to hold a job, and subsisting on welfare.
Celebrities such as River and Joaquin Phoenix, as well as Rose McGowan, were partially raised in this group before finding their way out. TFI is still active, albeit as an online community, boasting 1,450 members.
We were trafficked, we were moved constantly, we were never taught anybody's names. So it's very difficult to learn your abusers' names.
And you think that was by design?
Oh, absolutely.
I heard that there were a couple of celebrities who are also somewhat raised in places like this. And I don't know if they'll mention it in this video, but you remember that one Smallville actor those years back who was found out to be in a cult, or one of the high-ranking members. I don't know if they'll show us here, but let's see. Maybe they will.
NXIVM.
To understand NXIVM, NXIVM is the umbrella company.
Founded in 1998 by Keith Raniere and Nancy Salzman, NXIVM started out as a self-help group which offered classes called Executive Success Programs. In 2017, former members urged authorities to investigate, initially for a subgroup within NXIVM called The Vow. It was a group of women branded with Raniere's initials and on a rotation to have relations with the founder and recruit members.
You think the person who's being branded should be completely nude and sort of held to the table like a, sort of almost like a sacrifice? I don't know if that's a feeling of submission.
In a sort of exceedingly complex relationship scheme. On top of this, in 2018, charges were brought against Raniere and 5 female members for a number of crimes, including extortion, sex trafficking, and the list goes on. Raniere got 120 years in prison. As of 2020, a number of groups branched from NXIVM are said to be active and recruiting.
We didn't even know that we were being experimented on. We thought we were just kind of learning and growing, but really they were observing and watching how we responded to the lack of sleep, how we responded to lack of food, how all of these things affected our psyche, and we were very weak. We were weak mentally and we were weak physically.
Yeah, that was the cult I was talking about. I don't know if you all know who I'm talking about, but there's a chance some of you do. But that was a pretty good video. And anyway, thank you for watching. And the original video, the link to this video will be in the description. Thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next video.